Well, since 2002, I have been stuck in 2002. I really like the technology of 2002, mainly because my parents had me grow up on Apple, and we had a G4 Macintosh since I can remember. And we used that all the way up until I started doing YouTube videos. Some of my original YouTube videos were done on a computer that was over a decade old. So all my cameras are from that time period, and even the games I played up until 2009 were generally all from the early 2000s. So I thought, why don't I get all my stuff together and make a video with equipment from 2002? Seems ridiculous, but that's the premise for this. So right now I'm using an RCA VHS tape camcorder. It has a giant bright light on top of it, which is hopefully lighting me up alright. It is very warm. I recorded all the gameplay for this review using a VCR, and I imported that onto my G4 Macintosh. So I'm going to try to do some ref editing on there. If I have to do any file compression, I might do that on my other computer, just because the G4 Mac has like half a gig of RAM or something, very, very small, and 80 gigabytes of internal storage. So this video is going to take a while to come out. It's going to take like 3 days just to import it into iMovie, but we'll see how this goes. Any photos you see of the equipment that I'm talking about have actually been taken with this, a Sony Digital Mavica that I know it doesn't use film, but it stores all its photos on floppy disks. So while I can't really develop film anymore, I have this old thing, and the photos it takes kind of looks retro. So that will be what is showing you kind of what's going on. It does take video, but I believe the videos are only like 5 seconds long. So I guess let's get on to the review. Today I will be reviewing Spongebob Squarepants and the Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. Now this, to me, was a underrated SpongeBob game of the time. It was the one I always would play because I felt like it was the most faithful to the TV show. I played it when I was like 5 and 6 years old, so it'll be fun going back and playing it. I played it for about an hour, and I basically caught up to the point that was the furthest point I got when I was 6. It's very different. I used to think like, oh, the graphics were exactly like the show. How could graphics get better than this? Oh my gosh, are the graphics the weirdest thing I've ever seen. For one, SpongeBob's eyes don't always stay aligned, which I think is supposed to be a joke, but was never a joke in the TV show. An odd thing about this game and a couple other PS2 games is it's actually a blue disc instead of a normal DVD, and my copy is completely scratched to heck because I've had it since 2002, so it had some abuse over the years. I usually take good care of my games, but try telling that to a 5-year-old. So I did play the SpongeBob SquarePants movie game, and I did play Battle for Bikini Bottom. However, this one I always would go back to because it felt more faithful to the show. For one, it is open world, and I think they tried their best to map out Bikini Bottom and get as many characters in there as possible. When you first open up the game, you'll notice some things are off, such as when you hear the SpongeBob SquarePants theme song, the pirate doesn't sound like you should. Just take a listen.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can't hear you!
Aye, aye, Captain!
Ooh.
See, it goes ooh, and I don't remember any SpongeBob episode doing that. This whole game kind of has an eerie feel to it. There's also a guy who narrates and gives tutorials, and he is weird. He gives a very creepy voice that kind of just sounds like it's above you at all times. And I remember that really freaking me out when I was 5 years old.
Don't you think your little friend Gary would like to play some fetch?
Yeah, I guess.
Very well. Then move next to his fetching stick and press the action button to pick it up.
However, Tutorial Man does come in handy because as a 5-year-old, this game basically taught me everything I need to know about platformers. Some of the first things I learned about platformers were because of this game, which is why I have so many memories of being stuck at so many parts of this game. Just the concept of double jumping and floating or crouch jumping really took some time to learn, and that's another reason why I recommend platformers for people getting into video games, because it does teach you a lot of the controls and basics of what you come to expect with games. The game starts off with a bunch of silly antics and normal SpongeBob talk, maybe slightly less better writing than the show at the time, but he wants to play fetch with Gary. So you go into the kitchen, get spooked by the narrator guy, go out of the kitchen, and you play fetch with Gary. When you throw the stick, Gary comes back with a treasure chest. This happens to be the Flying Dutchman's treasure chest, and SpongeBob karate chops it open. This means you just flung the Flying Dutchman's treasure all around the world, and you release the Flying Dutchman. The Flying Dutchman takes Gary as somewhat of collateral and imprisons him on the ship to do manual labor. The weird thing about this, besides everything else, is that the Flying Dutchman continues to capture people all around Bikini Bottom, I guess because he's evil and he still needs more henchmen. It is your job throughout the game to try to find the Flying Dutchman's treasure in hopes that will help you save your friends. When you first sort of leave your house, you start discovering coins and you start discovering letters. When you collect all the letters, you end up being able to find a treasure chest and complete the level that you're stuck in. Also, the letters spell out SpongeBob, obviously. You meet Patrick, whose antenna was crushed, and you karate chop the antenna free. This is also when you learn how to crouch jump, and the animation that plays when you free his antenna from a barrel that was stuck on top of it is actually pretty cool for this game. The game tells you to follow Patrick to the downtown area, but once he leaves the screen, you can't follow him anymore. And that's because in order to get to different areas in this game, you need bus stop tickets. And the only way to do that really is to just keep playing. So you end up searching around and discovering that you can enter a tent to unlock different costumes. The costume you initially unlock is the one where you can catch jellyfish. With the jellyfishing net, you can also hook onto hooks and glide using the net. Unlocking these costumes is really cool in this game because they each have their own special ability. From the start, you see that there's 4 of them, but you're only able to select one. And back when I was 5, I couldn't quite read everything, so I didn't realize in the menus it told you literally everything you have to do, and also what I was selecting in the first place. Once you do find all the letters, the game gets weird once again, and you get teleported into SpongeBob's brain. His brain is as chaotic as ever, and you have to do just a simple 3x3 puzzle. This blew my mind. It gave me such anxiety as a 6 and 5-year-old because it is timed, and I would end up screwing up the puzzle even worse. But once you do this, the game just sort of teleports you to another random place, and you're supposed to find a treasure chest just kind of sitting out and about. This whole section now seems rushed, but I just went along with it when I was 5 years old, and now it just seems right. I guess when you're little, you kind of connect dots that don't really exist in even the people who made the game's mind. Mr. Krabs then calls you to the Krusty Krab, where he tells you that they aren't getting enough customers because people don't like to leave the house anymore. This, to me, seems foreshadowing for the future, where retail stores across the country have been closing down due to this exact reason. We don't like going outside anymore. SpongeBob wishes that they could somehow bring the Krusty Krab to the people, and Mr. Krabs kind of has a revelation that would later turn into Uber Eats. He decides to create a delivery service where you take Krabby Patties to people's doors. He's the one who gives you the bus ticket and enables you to go to downtown, where you run errands for him for a while. Down there you eventually are able to meet Patrick, who gives you the Mermaid Man costume, which again was really cool for someone who liked the show at the time, and you got to hear really cool Mermaid Man Barkle Boy theme music while you got to launch water balls at all these enemies who have been bothering you for the past hour. And while I didn't play much after I got past this entire level, the game is exactly how I remember it. It just, the graphics don't hold up as much as I remember, and it is just very strange and weird. It is a very good game that maybe could be remastered in some way, because there aren't too many SpongeBob games where you get to feel like you're exploring the world of SpongeBob. Being able to go into people's houses, explore SpongeBob's house, and explore the Krusty Krab, and just do everything in 3D really made it seem more like a SpongeBob game and less like a platformer themed around SpongeBob. You eventually get to even go to Sandy's Tree Dome, which was one of the coolest things I can remember from when I was 6 and playing this game. Getting there was like the main goal for me. Probably because I didn't have a memory card and couldn't play much further into the game. So if you don't mind the weird directions this game gives you, and just weird vibe overall, I would recommend it. You could probably get it really cheap, and there's a lot to collect and explore. It's kind of like one of the last collectathon platformers before things became more story-based. Although the story of this is just so wild and stupid that it is pretty entertaining. I don't really know how to end this review, as most of it is a gimmick around VHS tapes, but if you liked it, I hope you like it, and feel free to let me know in the comments what ideas you'd like me to do next. Just gimmicky ideas, technology ideas, what you'd like to see, if you like these random video ideas, and I hope this wasn't too big of a departure from my normal content. I will be keeping that up. This took quite a long time to set up, a lot longer than I was expecting, so hopefully I'll be able to get this up this week, and thank you guys so much for watching.